Everyone. So I've started sharing my screen. So anyone facing challenges in last day's assignment, or any questions from the topics which we have covered so far?
While importing that custom module, I got error like this module is not defined.
Okay. So okay, you were writing your own functions Python file into where you were trying to import it.
Yeah, same.
Okay. So can you can share your screen and show if you want.
I have shared that program yesterday in that assignment file.
Okay. So, where did you kept the files? Were they kept in the same folder or they were kept in other places?
Same folder.
No, then you should not get it. Okay, so let me open. I will check. You have submitted the assignment, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, okay. I will check whether it's like it will be. If there is any problem, I will let you know. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Or if you have the settings system ready, then you can share your screen and show also. For it will take a hardly. It won't take much time to fix it.
It is not opened.
You want to share now?
And the file is not opened.
Oh, okay.
Let me
Let me know once it is ready. Okay,
okay,
during this session only we can pause for a few minutes and then we can continue. Okay.
okay, fine.
Yes. So today we are going to cover uh, another special data type which we call a list. Okay. So this list is very powerful thing. Okay. Lists are defined using this third bracket. Okay. This square bracket, and you can have different uh, different data types inside this list. First I'm given an integer, then I'm given a string, then I will give a float. So why are we getting this error? Anyone want to say? Like single colon and double colon. Yes, that is I often go into that problem. Yes.
Yeah, I have taken that, Danish. Can I share?
Sure. I am stopping the sharing. You can share your screen.
Can you see?
I can see this.
This is the first function.
This is the first function. Okay, we are defining a function called check, and
Yeah.
it is in which file? It is in test2.py. Okay, the
Yes.
file name. Okay,
And I have tried to import it here.
so see, you are import. Okay, you go to that test2.py file.
Yes.
So then open that second file which you where you have defined the check method. Yes, here you add one more method in this file. Check one. Sorry, one more function. Define one more function here.
Okay.
Yes, do something. Give some function body. Otherwise, you'll get an error here. Yes. ABC equals to 10 years. Okay, save it. Now go to your first file. Suppose I want to use the second method, check one. What how will you use that?
Check dot check one, right?
So check
No,
is
we
what?
have to
Check is a function.
import import test2.py file name. I
Correct.
have to give or
Yes, that's correct. That's what I was trying to tell him. Like you check is a function, right? Function dot function one. How this will work?
Oh, okay, okay.
test2.py.
Test two. Yes. Not py dot py is not needed. Only test two. And then you have to give test two dot check and test two dot check one. Then that will work. Save it, run it.
Yeah, got it.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it happens. When you try to do, and that is the way we learn. We make mistakes. That is the way we learn.
Yeah, module is the file name we are saving, right?
Correct. Correct. And that .py file can have multiple functions.
Okay, okay.
Like we have whatever system module which we covered yesterday, like math module, OS module. So each one is having uh, several methods, several functions inside it. Okay.
Yeah, got it.
Yes. So I'm sharing my screen again. Yes. Okay. So today we are covering list. List is a very powerful data type. It it will you can give multiple inputs in a single line and a single variable. So this is a single variable name which is having multiple values. Okay. For example, if we want to yes, suppose if we want to find suppose if you want to find average of 50 numbers. Okay. Want to find the average of 50 numbers, what we have to do, we have to declare 50 variables, right? Int var1, comma var2, comma var3. So this way we have to define 50 var50 to 50 variables, we have to define. Okay, or if it is 500 variables, so we have to define, five we will be having 500 variable names only. Okay. But with the help of list, we don't need those many variable names. We can put it in a single inside a single variable name. So here we are going to find the average of n numbers. N can be anything. Anything. So how do we do this? So initially we will just numbers. We will so the way we declare a list, we will give this one two square brackets. So initially this is an empty list. Okay. So here also I can show you. So this is an b equals to. So this is an empty list. So if you type, if you want to see the what type b is, so if you give type, see it's a class list. Okay, it's a list type. And what is the length of this list? It will return a 0. Okay, if you would have given b equals to 12, then sorry, uh, b equals to 12, then if you will find the length of b, it will give us give the value as 1. Okay, since it is having one element. Okay. So I have taken an empty list here. Okay. and then we will ask the user, okay, print uh, how many numbers you want to input. Okay, and we will take that in a variable called n. N will be equal to then we will run a for loop. So we can mention count here in the range of n, right? What does this n takes? Give n. Suppose if you are given the value of n as 10, so from our loop will start from which number and end in which number? Can anyone tell me?
0 to n
One
minus
to
1.
nine. 0 to 9.
Correct. 0 to n minus 1. Very good. So what we are going to do, numbers will give a count here, and then here we can do two things here. We can ask the user to input something. Before that, let's make for understandable, we'll make print enter the number. So so our list now this so suppose in this B list I want to add another one more value. Okay, so we can do B plus third. We can concentrate list. Sorry, B equals to B plus a lot of ways we can with which we can add or remove element from the list. I will show you that. Here I wanted to show you. So these values, right? These are called values, and they can be accessed using index. Okay. Suppose if you want to access the first element, if we give a B0, it will give us 12. Okay. If you want to access the second element, B1 will give us 13. So there are two elements, 12 and 13. So what if we give B2, okay, since there is no element present in this, so this 12 is present in the 0 position, 13 is present in the 1 position. We don't have anything in, second position B2. So this will give you error list index out of range. Okay. This is a common interview question also for beginners. Like what will happen if you try to access, uh, an element which is, which is greater than the length of that list. So we get this error. We have to name this explicit. We have to name this. It is index out of range. We'll get this error. Index out of range. Okay. So I want to tell you that our list starts from zeroth index. Okay, zeroth index. So in our program, so that is why we are giving number 0. It's, for example, the first while in the first iteration, the value of count will be 0. So number 0, and we are giving that input. Second iteration, it will be 1. So number 1. So this way our value will be added in the list. Okay. Okay. So we have, so this will, take all the inputs, and we can do one more thing. We can, make the sum also here. Okay. This is how many numbers. 12. We'll initialize this to 0. And here we can give sum plus equals to, what are we going to give here? Numbers. Let me know if you're not able to understand anything. Okay. We can give like this also, or we can give like this also. Also sum equals to. Basically, we are whatever number we are giving as input, we are adding that as well. Okay. Should not be 0. It should be count. So we have got the sum of all the numbers. Now we'll just find the average. Okay. So average equals to, what will be the value here?
N.
Save this file. Okay. So we run this. How many numbers? Initially, you want to take only 5 numbers. Enter the number 1. Okay. What is that? Number count eval input. This assignment index out of range. Okay. Let's see why we're getting this error. Okay. So what we are trying to do, we have declared an empty list. So number 0 equals to eval of input. So what is the problem here? List assignment index out of range. Out of range. Okay. So if you give 5, so out of range, like same error what we got here, right? In this out of range. So what can be the problem here? Let's see. Uh, okay. So when we give the number, enter the number 0 equals to eval of input. What if let's try to find out where exactly we're getting this error. The number, we can non-zero, right? So if we give something like this here, we have this b error, right? B3 equals to 23. If you want to give this, sorry, b is not defined now. What? Which? Oh, it has restart. Okay, this is restarted. It, no problem. So if we define whatever we are doing here, we are in the loop. We are trying to do it manually. Okay. So if you give b0 equals to some value, maybe 1. Okay, the same error we are getting there. Okay. So what we can do here, instead of this, we give it no. So since this is an empty one,
Do I need to put in quotes?
no, quotes is fine. Since this is an empty list, then okay. Or we can, best thing is, oh, this is, okay, we can do an append. This should work. Okay, so yes, this is not the way we add, it is telling. Actually, this is okay, this is allowed in Java, but in Python we don't do it this way. So we have two methods for inserting. Okay, I will cover those also. First, let's complete this problem. Okay. So what we need to do is, rather than doing this, we have to give an append and then the number what we were giving as input. Now this should work fine. Save this. Which is some plus number 0. Fine. Now it should work. Which was not closed. This is not closed. How many numbers? 17, so enter the number 12, enter the number 13, enter the number 14, enter the number 15, enter the number 16. Average is 14. So the way I was trying to assign now that like this, A0 equals to or B0 something, that is not allowed in Python. It is allowed in Java. So here we do it using append. Okay, you can, yeah, fine. Yes. Yes. So this was one way, where we have to give five inputs from our end. Okay. So what if we want to, we don't want the user to input, we just want a random inputs. Okay, we don't want the user every time to give some value like enter the number 14. We don't want to do this. Okay. What you are input, right? Yes. You want to enter five numbers, okay, or any numbers between 1 to 1000. Okay, so how are we going to do it? Using random
Input
Input
random.
random.
input random, and then here what do we need to do?
Random
Random
dot.
dot rand int. I given t here, rand int, and what is the parameter we want between 1 to 1000.
19,000.
1000. Okay. So between this and this, do we need to add another bracket here? First bracket, the second bracket. This is one more bracket. Okay. So we are printing. This is fine. Okay. We need to print here sum of how many numbers? Sum of n numbers, right? Sum of n. Sum of n numbers equals to sum. Then we are printing this sum, and then we are printing the average. Average also, if we give a statement like this, average is this what we are this what we are giving in double quotes, right? This is like a constant. Okay, this is not taking any dynamic value, but here which is not in green, you see, so this is taking a dynamic value. Okay, so we run this, another unmatched, we are giving an extra bracket here. One, yes, we are giving extra bracket. How many numbers you want to input? We want only three numbers this time. Okay, see, it didn't ask us for, every time, give the input. It just took three numbers, and then it printed it. It just find out the average for these three numbers. Okay, so here we can take, we can run it again, and we can take, 100 numbers, run module. How many numbers we want to input? We want to input 100 numbers, 3581, and this gives you the average. Okay, so this is a power of list. We don't have to declare 1,000 variables here, and then we have to forgive the value for 1,000 variables. We can, at least we don't have to declare 1,000 variables, right? If you want to give our own input, then we have to give input. Or we can, rather than asking the user, suppose if I want to find the average of first 100 numbers. Okay, so what we can do, we can create another list here. List, this is a reserved keyword, we cannot use it as variable name. Okay, so list of 100 numbers. So what we can do, we can declare it like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can declare 100 values in a single go. Okay, and then we can use it. Okay, so few things in list we have to make a note. So it can contain multiple value in an ordered sequence. Okay, this is important. We will get to know why this is an ordered sequence. Okay, ordered sequence means, suppose I declare a list here: a equals to 1, 2, 3, or 4. So when we are printing this, it will the way in which it is there, it is printing in the same way, ordered way. Okay. If it would have been unordered way, then the number of times you will print A, you will get different order. Sometimes 214, 412. Okay. This is the difference between ordered and unordered. So there are a few unordered data structures also. We will as we move forward, we'll cover more things there. Like we have tuples, we have dictionaries, then there are few unordered ones also among them, so we will cover that also. Okay, so these values inside the list, okay, these are called items. Okay, and these are separated by commas. Okay, like how it will distinguish that this is one element, this is second element, this can be done using commas. Okay, and like
I
how
have
do
a
we,
question.
yes.
Here you get sum of three numbers equal to 2669. What all are that numbers? I'm not.
What are
Average
the
is
numbers?
880.
Yes, so
I-
that what you can do, we can take, we can print. Okay, we can print here, print number, we give a comma, and then we give count. So we have not closed the double quotes. Yes, so this number, zero or number on whatever it is, or we can give count plus 1. So number 1, and then we'll give like this, is when we will have to give the number. Okay, so this number we can define any variable here as num, and rather than appending directly, we will put it there. Okay, control X, control V. Okay, and sorry, semicolon is in Java. We will give a num here. So whatever number we are getting, we are storing in this variable. We are printing this number. This is this, and then we will append this only. Okay. Now we will run this. Let's see if we made some changes. I don't know if it is going to fail or not. Okay, we'll see if it fails, where it is failing. I don't think it will fail. So now how many numbers you want to input? I want to input 5 numbers. Number 1 is 482, number 2 is 121, number 3 is 407. Sum of 5 numbers, this average is this. Is it fine? This is what you asked, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, randomly taking numbers, right?
It's
4882
a
randomly.
I don't want the user to take the difficulty of inputting every time. So I am
Okay.
just using a random function to insert that five numbers.
Yep, yep. Could you please explain from first step on? First, it will execute how many numbers we want to input. By you writing n equal to eval of input means this will store in n variable, right? First
Whatever
statement.
input, yes, correct. It is storing in this. Like if you give 10, and n will be
Okay.
equal to 10.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
After that, sum equal to 0. Again, by you write numbers equal to this list numbers. Right.
This one, right? Numbers.
Yeah. Numbers equal to this one. Yeah. Close brackets.
Numbers, why we have written this. 1 minute. Let me also see why I have written this. Yes. So where are we using this list? Numbers list. Here it is being used.
Yeah. Sum equal sum place.
Yes. So initially this list is empty. Okay.
Okay.
If we
Uh,
find the length of this is 0. Okay. So
yeah. Okay.
after we are inserting this to this list, so the length, so it has now got one item.
Okay.
Okay, that one item is how do we get that item? Numbers and zero. We whenever like we saw, right, when we are trying to fetch the value from the list, we will use the index. So number zero will
Yeah.
give you the number and then it will add it here.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, if we if we don't declare this here, okay, if we suppose you're saying why we are declaring this outside the loop, okay. So this your what we are trying to insert in this numbers, it won't identify. So I'm just commenting out this. Okay, we'll see. Run module. How many numbers you want to input? I want to input three numbers. So this when it is trying to insert this number is not defined, right? This is not defined. So even if we there is a variable Sandeep, I am just taking a variable name as Sandeep. If I try to print this Sandeep, it will say it is not defined. This variable name is not defined. So similarly,
Yeah.
in this thing, if we don't define this here, it will say it is not defined when we are trying to reuse it. Now you might have a question that we can declare this inside for loop, right?
Yeah.
We might have a question like this also. We can why we are declaring it outside the for loop. Okay. So suppose now we have declared it inside the for loop. Okay. So what will happen? This you know what is the meaning of this statement? Numbers equals to a we are uh, suppose I will show you first here. A equals to 1, 2, 3.
Mm,
Okay. Now what we do, we are giving, we are using this statement. A equals to blank. So no, first after giving this, we check the value. It's 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now if we give A equals to blank. Now if we check the value of A, it is blank.
yeah.
So what will happen here? For the first time when it goes in this loop, okay, for 0 in the range, it is true. It will come here. It will make it a empty. It will make it an empty list. Okay, and then it is appending this. It is inserting the first element. Okay, and then it is adding it. Okay, so next time if you go in the again if you go in the loop, it is empty now. Okay, so it will again ask for a random integer. It is again going to, it will be again an empty. Again, it is going to insert this 0. So it will be adding it, adding here. So in this way, this will also work. I am not saying this will not work, but at the end of the loop, okay, if we try to print the list, okay, if we try to print the list at the end of the loop, print list is we give this what is that numbers Suppose the user wants to see the list. What is the list we have? Okay. So sorry, we don't have to give. Yeah. So if you save this, okay, I think it should give an error here. How many numbers you want to input? I want to input three numbers. So sum equals to sum plus numbers out of range. Okay, so we'll see this list index. Here it is failing. Sum equals to sum plus number count. This, yes. I forgot to mention this. Yes. So when the second time the loop comes, what will be the value of count? It will be 1, right?
Yeah.
First time it will be 0. Everything is fine. It inserts it. And this number, this is number 0. Okay. So second time when it comes in the loop, what will be the value of count is 1. So,
Yeah.
and this is an empty list. And when we are appending here, then after the execution of this statement, we are having only one item. Okay, we are only having one item, and
Okay.
it can be accessed using can be accessed using zero index. Yeah, zeroth index. Okay, but here what is the value of count? Here the value of count is 1.
One.
So it will give an error that it is out of range. Okay, so for that third time it will be 2, so it will be out of range. Okay, so that is the reason why we are declaring it outside. We are not declaring because
Okay.
every time this will not work because the value of count is it keeps on changing. If the value of count would have been fixed, then it would have worked here. Okay, is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is okay. So where were we actually? Huh, it's yeah. So we were defining one list having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 45. Okay. So if you see the length, suppose if you want to get the first element, what we are going to do? A of 0.
Zero. Yeah.
Okay. We want to get the second element. No, this will give the third element. This is 3. Okay. So there can be negative indices also. Suppose if I give A of -1. Okay. So this will give you the last value. Okay.
Okay.
Like -1, it will start from the end. If I give A of -2, then what will be the value for this?
Three.
3. Yes, so we can do it both the ways. Okay, positive and negative indices also. Those two are also we have the option positive and negative index. Okay, then we have something called slice. Okay, length we already know. We if we give a length and the name of that, we give the length of that A. If there are 4 items, it is giving 4. Okay.
Okay.
And then what we have? Slice. Yes. Suppose suppose I want to create another list with only these two values, the first index and the second index. Okay. So I am creating another list.
Equal.
I am creating another list, and here we want the
Okay.
2 and 3. Okay. So 2 is at index number 1,
Of one.
AF1, and so slice. Slice is square bracket and like an index, but it has two integers. Okay, it has two integers. We have to give two integers. If we give if you give three integers, it won't work. Okay, so A of 1 and 3. Okay, so 1 is this, 2 is this, 3 is this. Why we are giving 3? Because it will if you give 3, then it will take 3 minus 1. It will ignore this the third index. It will just take one value less than 3. Okay,
Okay.
suppose if you
Then
wanted
count.
if you wanted 2, 3, 45, we want 3 items. So what we have to give?
1 4.
And comma four.
1 comma
And four. Oh,
If you now print B, it is giving this. Okay. Suppose if we want to create another list, okay, if we want, if we give only one, or we want zero, we want from the first element, and we don't give anything. Okay. So it is giving us invalid syntax. Suppose, okay, why this is an invalid syntax? Because we have not given the name here. It should be a of 01. Okay. It is not because that we are not passing that parameter. Should be a of 01. That name of the list should be present. Okay. Now if you can see, so when we don't give the second parameter, it by default, it will take the length as a parameter. Okay, the entire length of it. Okay, and suppose if we don't give the uh, first first parameter, okay, we leave it blank and then we give 4. We want till the end. Okay, so if now we give D, so it will. So if we ignore the first or the second parameter, it will by default it will consider it to be the first and the last. Okay, is it clear?
Yes.
yeah, clear.
Okay, so we have this. So these are called slices. Okay, this the way we are, creating one list from another list using this colon function and this bracket. This is called slices. Okay, so we know length function and list concatenation and replication. Okay, so the value of D is 1 2 3 45. Okay, so if we do something like this, D into 2. So you see this, we are it is getting replicated twice. If you will give 5, it will be replicated 5 times. Okay, but if we see the value of D, it is same only. Can anyone tell me why? Why it is same?
Not assigned.
Correct. We are not assigning it, so it is not modifying the list. So if we give something like this, D equals to D
D
into
into
2 or 3 or 4, 5, anything. Then if we print D, then you see it will be like this.
yeah.
Okay, so what is the value of C? C is 1 2 3 45. Now this was a replication. Okay, using replication using star symbol. Now if you want to add another list, okay, we have C and D. We want to add the both. We want to add the two. Or let me create another list. We'll give the names here. Okay, we have Sam, we have John, and we have Daniel. So we have another list with these three values, and I want to do a C plus D. Let's see whether this works or not. C plus D, not C plus name. Okay, so it is this plus operator is concatenating the two lists. As I told you, list can have any data type value. It should not be of the same type. Okay, so when we talk about array, uh, array we cannot give another data type, but for list we can have different types of data type concatenated together. Okay, we are not assigning it to anything. We can assign it this to new list equals to C plus name. Okay, so just clear till this point.
Yes.
Okay, now if you want to delete some element, delete elements using the del keyword. Okay, so I want to delete the last Daniel. I want to or the first element I want to delete. Okay, so del list name the index. I want to delete this. Okay, now if we see the value of new list, one is removed. Okay, and suppose I want to change the value of the first item. Okay, so what I will give, new list, first item starts in 0. Okay, I want to give some string here. Okay, string. So new list is not defined. Why this is? Did you mean new? Okay, so see, it is case sensitive.
Any cap.
L is
Yeah, any cap.
cancel. Yes, it is case sensitive. Equals to string. Now, if we see new list, see, it is changing the value. Okay. So these were few of these functionalities, and there are few more. Okay. It is in this list I have. Yes, I have made this. So there are few methods also. Okay, there are few methods also for this list class. So we have first method is count. Okay, what it does, it returns the number of times a given element appears in the list. It does not modify the list. Okay. So suppose in our list, do we have any repetitive value? No. So we'll add some repetitive values. So adding also we can do it two ways. The way we saw, new list dot append, what we did in that program. Okay. I want to repeat some value. I want to give 3. Okay. New list dot append dot 3. Now if we see new list, we got inserted at the end. Okay. Suppose we want to insert something uh, in between or the first element, anything. Okay. So we can use new list, this one, insert, and then we have to give the index where do we want to insert. Okay, suppose I want to insert in the first element only, 0. Okay, and then we have to give the value. I think this is the syntax for this. Okay, now if we do this, see this is inserted in the beginning. Okay, so we have, for insertion we have two methods. One is append. So append by default will add it in the end of the list. Okay, and so if you want to insert it at a particular position, we have to give that index value and the value. Okay, so now what we were saying, count, right? We have a functionality called count. We want to see how many times 3 is occurring in this list. Okay, so count 3. How many times 3 is present? It's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, suppose I want to count 45. It is present only once. Okay, it gives you 1. Okay, is it clear? Count functionality.
Yes.
So insert, I just told you, it will insert at a given index. Append will append in the at the end. Okay. So what is this index? Returns the lowest index of a given element within the list. Okay. So what index does? Index of, I have to give the element name here. So I want to find at what index this Sam is present. Okay, I want to see this. It told me it is present at index number 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so suppose there are 3 elements for 3. If we give dot index of 3, so what it is going to return? Anyone want to guess? There are index is present at 0th index, second index, and the last
Zero
index.
two. Yeah. 0 to 7.
0 to 7. Okay. So this index functionality, as it is mentioned here, it returns the lowest index of the given element. Okay. Whichever comes first, it will return the index of that. Okay. Uh, is it clear, right? Return the lowest index.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Similarly, we saw removing the element using del keyword, right? Using index. We have another method which we can use on the list. Again, I'm giving capital. Actually, this is an like whenever we are giving a variable name, this is an industry standard thing. That variable name should be a meaningful name. Okay. And suppose if there are two words in that variable name, like new list, there are two different words. Okay. So we either uh, start the second word using a capital letter. Okay. Or we separate it using an underscore. So this is the industry standard. Okay. But here, how I use new list, I don't know. I just put it random. So that is why every time I'm trying to print it, I am just typing capital there. Okay. So remove, I want to remove which item? I want to remove Sam. Now if I try to print this new list. So now Sam is removed. What if we want to remove 3? Remove 3. So it's not going to remove all the elements. It is only going to remove the first index, the lowest index value. Okay. And we have two more methods, reverse and sort. Okay. So if you want to reverse this list, now if you see the list is reversed. Okay. Any doubt so far? These are simple. You just need don't need to. There is nothing much in understanding. Just need to remember these functionalities. Okay. Then there is a last functionality method called sort. Okay. So if we call this sort here, what it is going to do? Yes. So whenever we have to sort something, okay, since these it's showing not supported between instances of string and int. Okay. So we have to int list equals to 23 comma 4 comma 56 comma 7 comma 0 comma minus 3. Okay, now if we use the sort in this list, and this- okay, so for this sort function, sort method to work, we should have similar data type. Okay, if we have a combination, because it cannot compare this, integer with a string, right? Okay, so for using the sort method, it has to be of the same data type. Okay, and suppose I want to just randomly check whether 0 is present in this list or not. So there's another keyword called in. Okay, 0 in list, true. I give some value like 44. Is it present in this list?
No.
It will give a false. Okay. So in keyword, right? There's something called in keyword. Okay. So suppose we have this list. Okay. I want to find the, you know, uh, mm, like yeah, the biggest and the smallest number from this list. Okay. So I will write a program for you to understand this thing. This entire thing, I'm just putting it in comments. Okay, it's already 9 o'clock. But I want to show you this example so that you know if I give you any assignment, you can do it. Okay. So we have a list. We have a num list. Num list equals to, we are giving here 12, 43, 67 minus 1, 2, 5. Okay, we have these many numbers in this list. Okay, I want to find the maximum and the minimum from this list. Okay, so how to approach these kind of problems? So first you have to, you know, how do you like go through all the elements? Okay, we can do it using a for loop. We can we can do this for uh, do it like this also. For there are two or three ways. I will show in next day. I will show you how we can iterate, how we can go through each element of the list. Okay, this is one way I think for num in this print num. Let's see whether this is working or not. I am also not used it from long time. Print num. Okay, save this. I run it. Okay, so this is working fine. Okay, so this is when we use this in keyword, it will go through each of the element. Okay, this is one way. And another way of doing this using this for loop for the list is another way we can use it is for count in range length of this num. Length will give you the the length of this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 is the list. So for count in range of 6, so from 0 to 5 it is going to iterate, right? Print,
Length of num list, right?
sorry, yes, correct. Sorry, thank you for correcting me. Num list, print num list and the count. Okay, this is another way of traversing to this list through the use of for loop. Run this. So you see we have similar outputs. Okay. Yes. So these are the two ways we can iterate through the list. I want to find the maximum from these numbers. Okay. So to do this kind of problem, what we have to do? Initially, we have to declare one variable called max. Okay. But max seems to be a reserved keyword because it has come in this purple color. Okay. We'll give max num. What we can do here, we can give any value, for example, 0. Okay. We'll remove this for the time being. Let's go to inputs. So inside this loop, I have to compare, I have to compare each element with this element. So first element is our 12. So if our first element is greater than max, if 12 is greater than 0, okay, so what is going to happen? We will make max as 12. Okay, so for the second time it comes, it will take this number. Okay, now what is the after? So for the first time, okay, for num in num list, okay, if num, what is the value of num for the first iteration? It is 12.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, it is comparing with 0, so 12 is greater than 0. This is true.
Yeah.
So now then what we are giving? We are giving the value of 12 as max. Now the value of, sorry, not max, it should be max num, right?
Number greater than maximum, right?
Max num,
Yeah.
correct. I forgot that. Yes. So max num will now be 12. Okay. Now when the second time the loop goes, so now the value of num will be 43 and the value of max num is 12. So 43 is greater than 12. True. So now max num will be what? Equals to that 43.
43.
Got it? So this is the
Yeah.
way you have to think about. Okay. In the next iteration, we have got 67. It will compare with 43. Yes, it is greater. So now the max num value of max num is 67. Again, it will pick the fourth element. Then it will check if minus 1 is greater than max 67. No. So it will not enter into this
Else.
this if. Okay. So it will again, so there is no else present. It will again go to this for loop.
Okay.
Okay. And in the end, we have to print the max element. Print max value in the list is, what is that? Maximum.
Maximum.
Save it. Right. So maximum value in the list is 67. We can make it look better also like this. Uh, Print list is, we're printing the list here first. Okay. List. Save it. So this is the list and this is the maximum value from the list. Is it clear to everyone? Anyone having any questions?
No.
Okay. So yes. So today's assignment I will center on this only. Okay, this maximum, minimum, this list only. So and the more you do it, you think your logic and you do it in your way. Okay, it would be more beneficial. You will, and then if you face any other challenges, coding challenges also, then it helps you in developing your thinking, logical skills, analytical skills. You can solve different type of problem. If you do the assignments with these kind of challenges, it will open up your mind. It will help you. Okay. Okay, then that's it from my end. I'm stopping the sharing. So we are done, Aditi. You can stop the recording. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank you,
good day.
Danish.
Yeah.
Thank you, Danish.